And please welcome Terence van der Hout as the chair of our jury.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be reading from the report, our jury report, that explains why we've selected the nominees that are on our shortlist. Please be aware that all these 6 nominees are companies that we have big positions in. We believe in those companies. So regardless of who wins today, we think they are very worthy of investment. So let's begin. The jury has compiled a shortlist of 6 mining companies that are eligible for the prize this year. In random order, they are Filo Mining, Predictive Discovery, Banyan Gold, Reunion Gold, Antipa Minerals, and Newfound Gold. The final shortlist and selection of the winner was done following the criteria we use for managing positions within the fund, and the winner fits our discovery investing model perfectly. In essence, this amounts to the quality of the discovery hole, the subsequent confirmation of the discovery in follow-up drilling, exploration pointing towards a world-class deposit, a producer as a partner with an interest and capability in moving the project towards production, a very probable outlook on a takeover, and most importantly, value creation for our portfolio. So let's start with the nominees. Again, in random order. We'll start with Filo Mining. Filo is developing the massive Tier 1 Filo del Sol copper-gold porphyry in Argentina, close to the Chilean border, with a total resource of almost 9 million ounces of gold, 300 million ounces of silver, and 4.3 billion pounds of copper. This is an incredibly large metal deposit. About 2/5 of this is in oxides that are amenable to heap leaching, and this portion has been subject to a PFS that shows an NPV of around 1.3 billion US dollars. Although the project was discovered back in 1999, the stock got into discovery overdrive with a May 2021 hole of 858 meters at 1.8% copper equivalent. This ran the company valuation up from a share price of $4 to around $26.50 about a year later. The company is operated by a team with close ties to the Lundin Mining Group, and they have BHP as a small shareholder. Exploration upside in these sulfides is still massive, and we believe they will be producing at Filo del Sol for decades.
Yeah, no, fantastic. We've heard from Jamie recently, or just now. Jamie, would you join us on stage for a second? We'll just want to ask you a couple more questions and just bring you back to memory of our investors here. And thank you so much for joining us. Your first nomination, Jamie. I don't have a whole, like at the Oscars, they have a whole speech prepared.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's Jamie's first nomination. It's his first nomination as the CEO of Filo Mining.
Kai sent me some inspiration words from Steve Carell, who thanked his wife. So.
Oh, that's yeah. I sent you the Oscar, the Academy Award speech. It was pretty funny, actually. No, Jamie, as CEO of Filo Mining, of course, you're working with a great group. Give us a bit more background outside of what you've been presenting. And the question is, like, Lundin Mining, for example, or the Lundin family is backing Filo, working in this, how would you call it, it's like a conglomerate of fantastic companies and mines. Like, how is it working in that conglomerate?
It was great hearing Willem talk about the strategy that he has, because, the world lost another great commodity discovery investor in Lucas Lundin earlier this year. And the beauty of these types of investments, it's different than following quarterly returns. And you can't take a view to where the share price is going next quarter, 2 quarters, or even in the year. It's finding great projects and then backing them and having the perseverance to invest in them for many, many years. And as you mentioned, we took over this land package in the late 1990s, and it was May 2021. Really, was the hole that put this over the edge. So we're 2 decades at least of investing, and I think that's just a remarkable statistic. Different sometimes in the gold space. I think those discoveries can be made a little quicker and turned into mines. In the copper world, you're often looking at these really long timelines. So
it also shows, as a discovery investor, you have to work hard, because we didn't have a position in you guys until you made that discovery hole after working on that project for years.
And I think where investors get it wrong is thinking after the discovery that they've missed it. You know, the hole comes out, the share price runs overnight, and it's easy to say, oh, I'm going to turn my attention somewhere else and focus on another opportunity. If you'd done that at Filo, you would have missed a run from $8 to 27 on the back of that. So don't shy away from the results that come on the back of the gold.
We enjoyed that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Thanks.
Jamie, thank you so much. I think we'll continue now with if we look at predictive discovery. Yeah.
Right, we'll go on. Predictive Discovery. I don't think it's a company that's here.
No, they're not.
All right.
They're in Africa.
So, there we go. Australian-based Predictive Discovery has discovered a large gold deposit at surface in Guinea in Western Africa. The speed of resource expansion has been unprecedented. From an April 2020 discovery hole, Predictive has defined an open-pit resource of 3.9 million ounces at 1.65 grams per ton of gold at Northeast Banyan alone, drilling 80,000 meters over that period. The stock ran up from around 1 cent pre-discovery to 20 cents currently, and the company has a valuation of 370 million Australian currently. The project sits in a buffer zone of a nature reserve that will require negotiations with the central government to pay off in a likely NSR, as has been the case elsewhere in the country. But importantly, when all is said and done, we're very confident that the total resources on Predictive's Guinea property will reach the size similar to Fekola, held by B2 Gold.
Well, since they're not here, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How comfortable do you feel with certain jurisdictions, now talking Guinea and West Africa?
Well, Guinea's a new thing. It's almost the guinea pig, right? But there are mining operations in Guinea. And so we are okay with new mining jurisdictions, but we do require sort of more due diligence to get comfortable. Obviously, Guinea, the fact that Predictive is in a buffer zone of a nature reserve makes it a bit more of a risk. So we've had to dig a little bit deeper for us to get comfortable with it. But in this instance, we do feel that it'll cost a bit of money, but they'll be able to pay it off.
Is Africa?
The quality of the project is such that they will get it moving forward for sure.
Are there any other majors in the area or in Guinea to sort of as a reference point?
Yeah, I think there's an iron ore producer which has had a similar sort of payoff in terms of an NSR. So there's a few references, but not many.
But it's just like the Yukon. If you find 1 million ounce, you don't get your permit. If you find 50 million ounce, you'll get your permits. It's too important. And that's what we love about discovery investing. If it's a huge system, they will change the rules. Even for Pebble one day. Because it's US and they need the copper.
No, fantastic. Terence, I think we all understand why they're nominated. I think we can move on. I think next up is Banyan Gold.
Next up, for sure, is Banyan Gold.
Not there yet.
Banyan's Ormac property in the Yukon, Canada is in close proximity to Victoria Gold's operating mine and has similarities in terms of geology, mineralization and grades. Recent activity has ramped up exploration quickly with a total of almost 100,000 meters drilled, and the combined resources on the projects have reached a swift 4 million ounces at 0.6 grams per ton, with an outlook on an additional 2 or 3 million ounces. Amazingly, only 3 kilometers of the total 16 kilometer of resistivity strike has been explored, and given the proximity of Yukon First Mover Victoria and the willingness of major producers to gain a foothold in a safe jurisdiction, the project quality pretty much ensures a takeover somewhere down the road, and we believe this will not be at the current market cap of around 100 million.
You like that?
I like that. Terence, join us for a few seconds. And
Bravo!
Yes. I think you have one supporter, one shareholder in the room.
I gotta get that
Fantastic.
market cap up.
Well, it is Tara's first nomination as a CEO of Banyan Gold. Congratulations on that. As I said before, I've been to the project twice, and I see why you have been nominated. I fully get it. Open in all ends. But tell us a bit more about the art of discovering that project, because I know you started elsewhere with Banyan, and why did you choose that project?
Well, you know, when I became the CEO in 2016, we had our Highland project, which we still have. It's down in Watson Lake. It's similarly an intrusion-related deposit, but, you know, that wasn't going to get any market attraction. And I actually knew about the Ormac project, which was in the two pieces, but before that it had had fractured ownership, and it had actually been staked. We have claims that date back to 1902. So nobody really put it together. It was held by Victoria Gold and Alexco, with the majority of the known mineralization on the Alexco side. I knew about it for a couple of reasons. One, I knew the prospector that took out the 16 tons of 2-ounce material. Two, I purchased privately the alluvial assets over top of it in 2013 from an estate, so I knew there was alluvial gold there. And then, of course, I knew that Victoria Gold had part of it in Alexco, so set out to acquire it. And, you know, it had had 7 or 8 geologists, so 35 different rock types named, and we had to do the really boring hard work of relogging core and trying to put together a geological model. And we tested that in 2019 and had great success. And, you know, originally it was airstrip that was the major deposit, but the power line discovery was made in 2019 in the spring. And we drilled there, thank you to Victoria Gold for clearing an area where they didn't put the substation, because it was really easy to drill there. And who would think that right beside the highway you'd make a brand new discovery?
Fantastic. And rapid process. As you said, you started in 2016, 2019, you discovered Powerline, you're sitting at 4 million ounces. Why is it possible to work so fast, and what are you doing different than maybe some of the other companies?
Well, we're really lucky to have that main road right through there. That's a huge asset for us. You know, we're really focused on being operationally efficient. It's a really difficult area to prospect. You know, if you look at the topography in the image there, we don't have a lot of outcrop. We've got geochemistry. That resistivity is now making sense. But when we started, we were exploring with 100-meter step-out holes. So yes, now we've got to 100,000 meters of drilling, but I'm not quite sure we found the best yet. I'm really excited about what's to come in our next 100 drill holes. We started to understand, you know, what's going on in the system. And so I think yes, we've made a discovery, but I think that similar to Filo, we might have some better stuff yet to come.
Fantastic. Amazing. Yeah. Pathway to, I think I saw 6 million ounces somewhere on a slide or so, or at least it was discussed at this
Target, we want
conference.
to get up to being, you know,
Right.
tier 1 asset class, and I think that'll really bring in, one, it'll get us up to a market cap that I think we deserve, which we're not at right now, and 2, I think it'll bring all kinds of interest.
Fantastic. Tara, I think everybody understands why you're nominated.
you very
Fantastic.
much.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we'll move on. Reunion Gold. Reunion is earning into the Oko West project in Guyana, South America. A project where a total of 44,000 meters has been drilled since first pass drilling in Q1 2020. Although the discovery hole was anything but spectacular, follow-up results kept hitting similar intercepts with every step out over good widths along a current strike at Kairuni of 2.5 kilometers. Analysts estimate that this area alone could account for roughly 3.5 to 4 million ounces of around 1.5 grams per ton. Then there's a further 3.5 kilometers of strike extension to work with immediately to the south at Takutu. There's a parallel zone at Carroll, and there is a more westerly brine zone. We are very comfortable in seeing a world-class Tier 1 open pit mine further down the road. Reunion has close ties with G Mining, and management have an excellent Guyana track record. Although a market cap of 400 million for a junior without a resource appears pricey, we're very confident that a takeover will come at a much higher value.
Fantastic. Great nomination. Terence, I hosted the award show with you and Willem in Amsterdam last year, virtually. We recorded the interviews. But I can't help but notice that this year there's a few companies nominated that have projects in different jurisdictions. Like, is it too difficult to make discoveries in tier 1 jurisdictions like Canada or Western Australia? We have Antipa there, so as an exception, but generally, is it too difficult to make discoveries in tier 1 jurisdictions?
I'd say that perhaps some of these jurisdictions have been not overly drilled, but they've been explored extensively, and Canada is a case in point. There's still a lot to be found in Canada, but the flip side of that is in countries like Guyana and Western Africa as well. There's been under-exploration, and that to us is leading to the finding of new large-scale projects that are no longer available up in Canada or in the US.
Actually, this is backed up by data. We have a list in our office about exploration dollars spent in the different regions. You might have seen it yourself. And then West Africa is the only region where the output, the discovery output, the value of the discoveries, is larger than the investment made in all the drill programs. So you get the best bang for your buck in West Africa.
Interesting. Yeah, so we might have to dig a little deeper and go to areas yet to be explored. Yeah. Fantastic. Terence.
Okay. Newfound Gold. Newfound Gold is developing the high-grade Queensway discovery in Newfoundland, Canada, with an August 2019 discovery hole of 19 meters at 93 grams per ton. Newfound became the market darling for over a year after the 2020 listing, rising almost tenfold before pulling back on the natural exhaustion of the discovery and the onset of a gold bear market. On a deposit that has similarities to the famed Fosterville deposit in Australia, multiple zones are now being followed up along a 9-kilometer trend, and this is still only a very small portion of the total property size. It is the type of project where only a massive annual drilling program will do justice to the potential scale. It's been almost 15 years since the last high-grade plus 10 million ounce gold deposit was discovered by Aurelian, but when all is said and done, we believe that Newfound Gold is a prime candidate for the next big one.
Interesting nomination. I have a slight conflict of interest, being a director of the company just to the north, but I agree it is an interesting area. The one thing I haven't seen in one of your criteria is there's no majors in Newfoundland yet, and major investment, unless I missed something. So maybe what's your thesis on that?
Yeah, well, so that gets compensated by grade.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, every company has there's hardly any company that complies to all our criteria, because if it was, it would be our biggest position, hands down. So some of these companies are not, they're not they don't have the let's say the size, or they don't have the grades, or they don't have a major as a participant in there. But that's okay, because it gets compensated by other things.
How would you judge Newfoundland as a jurisdiction itself? It's in Canada, and project's easy to develop, because that's another.
Yeah, we think so. And there's a few references now. I mean, there's mines coming up there that are coming to production. Exploration is coming. There's a kind of a hype there as well now going on in exploration. So we think that won't be a problem down the road.
No, fantastic. Fully understand the nomination as well. I think that's easy to follow through. Quinton Hennig with Kraskat and Tavi is also involved. Last but not least, I think we have Antipa Mining.
Sorry, I missed the Antipa one. Sorry about that. Oh, there we go. All right. So Antipa Minerals. Antipa is developing its 100% owned Minyari deposit in the Patterson, Australia. A recent maiden resource estimate shows 1.8 million ounces at 1.6 grams per ton at Minyari Dome, which is a good start with more to come. Of particular importance since the neighboring Telfer mine, operated by Newcrest, has just a few more years of production left. As an early mover into the region, Antipa carefully staked most of the ground with very little cover, and this land package strategy is likely to be Antipa's call to future fame. Antipa has a joint venture with Rio, and both Newcrest and IGO are earning into 2 other projects, implying Antipa is very much on the radar of local producing companies. Although it's still early days for Antipa, there are so many moving parts with blue sky for the company that the current 85 million market cap will be seen as a bargain once the regional producers start making their moves.
The party started outside already, so
Seems like we got the Brazilian carnival moving through. No, fantastic. We just heard from the gentleman as well. And Roger, why don't you join us on stage for a couple of minutes?
look, all coming for you.
Fantastic. Roger, we just heard from you just about half an hour ago. You gave us a wonderful pitch. You mentioned the majors in the area, right? And I think that's a really key part and also part of the discovery, investing, and exit strategy. And I went to ask somebody earlier but how far do you have to take a project to make it appealing to the investors? Sorry, not the investors, the majors. And how much spoon feeding do you have to do?
Yeah, it's a good question, Kai. I guess in terms of the situation we're in, our major interested party would be Newcrest. They have basically a couple of years of reserve left at Telfer, and they're working feverishly with Greatland Gold to bring in the Havieron deposit. But either way, that leaves a huge amount of spare capacity in that plant, which is huge. In terms of how that may evolve in terms of a corporate transaction, really Antipa has to stick to its focus on adding value to the asset that we own. In this case, the 100% Minyari Dome project. So increasing the value of that asset, ideally confirming that standalone development opportunity, which then gives us the position to negotiate in the context of any developments in the region corporately. So I think that's really the only way forward for us. To approach with any other scenario, toll treating or similar is not of any particular value to the Antipa shareholder. The Newcrest would have all of the advantages financially, and we would carry all of the risk from a mining perspective. So really it's identify a standalone development opportunity and force the hand.
It makes a lot of sense, I think, following up on that.
Actually,
Oh, you get a
I
question?
think, what I like about Antipa, and you showed it in your presentation, you have so many joint ventures, and your projects are so close to Rio's and Newcrest projects. I don't think we can be certain there will be one takeover, but I think there will be several takeovers. You will spin out a company that will be taken over, and then you have more to spin out. So this is like a serial discovery success, in my humble opinion. And if you look for an investment for your own portfolio, we did a placement with you. You remember at 4.2, and now you can buy it even cheaper. It's an amazing situation.
Yeah, there's a few options there. You mentioned Rio and the Citadel joint venture project, which we own 35% of, is really a future pipeline for Rio Tinto in that area. You have to look at the depth of cover to get a feel for that, but basically where the Winnow deposit sits that Rio are going to develop a mine at, as soon as you move literally only a kilometre or so away from that deposit, you fall off into several kilometres of cover, so nothing can be discovered or developed in that area of ground that Rio have. So basically the Citadel joint venture forms about 50% of the area that will be within about 50 kilometres of that processing facility. So it provides the future pipeline for discoveries that you mentioned. It already hosts the Calibre deposit, which is a 2 million ounce deposit and open in most directions. So yeah, it's part of the canvas for sure, Willem.
Fantastic. Congratulations on the nomination. Thank you for joining us here in Frankfurt. It's much appreciated. As I said before, you're the only ASX-listed company, so thanks for braving and the TSX companies and us Germans. So thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
All right, we're almost there. The conclusion. So all 6 companies, to varying degrees, bear the hallmarks of an outstanding discovery. It's either a blockbuster hole or a larger collection of high-quality holes, an outlook on a world-class deposit, a Tier 1 project that will be of interest to a large producer, very rapid exploration progress, further potential for value expansion, and the outstanding performance in the CDFund portfolio. So the winner of this year's Discovery Award has...
Wait. First, we need a bit of...
No, we're not there yet. The winner of this year's Discovery Award has certainly gained in value rapidly over the last 2 years after a succession of world-class drill holes. There's involvement in the project by a miner, and the deposit is by no means delineated. But the one defining factor this year is size and quality. This is a project that is a company maker, or will provide a large and long-lasting production pillar, even for a major. Even on just a portion of its deposit, it becomes hugely profitable. In this combination of project size, quality, and level of advancements, it is this combination of size, quality, and advancement that sets it apart from other nominees. And we are now ready to announce the winner.
And the winner is, drum roll.
The winner of the 2022 Discovery Award is Filo Mining. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well earned.
Well, that's great.
There it is. It's heavy.
Heavy, yeah. Thank you very much.
You recognize the core?
I do recognize the core. That looks to be from hole 41. So that
We stole it.
Is there anything in it?
That sample there grades about 4% copper, about 4 gram per ton gold, and around 180 grams silver.
Fantastic.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Fantastic. Jamie,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
congratulations.
Thank you
Amazing.
very much.
Well done.
Yeah.
And,
We have some champagne. Stay.
and
please
Jamie, stay here. Stay
Oh,
here.
I'm staying
And
here.
Yeah, you have to
Sure,
do
if
your
you wanna-
speech. Yeah, your
Speech?
a little short speech.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is that's yours.
Yeah.
That's mine. That's yours.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well deserved. But why don't you grace us with a few just closing remarks and just
Well,
a short
listen,
speech.
It's a bit funny for me to be the one standing up here taking an exploration award because really I had very little to do with the exploration. I mean
Goes with the job. Goes with the job.
This goes to the team that's on the ground, the team that spends their winters up in camp at 5,000 meters above sea level in pretty challenging conditions. And then, of course, to the family that has persevered and invested in this project for multiple decades. So, really to Lucas Lundin, to that perseverance, to the Lundin family, excuse me, and to all of our staff, I think a huge success at Filo. And as you say, what's unbelievable about this project is the success that we've had, and where I think we can still find more. It's just truly growing into something enormous, and hopefully the largest undeveloped copper project in the world.
You forgot to thank your wife.
I did. Yeah. Thanks to my wife, Jen.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Can we do